Welcome to Tarkov Tales, in a series of videos that focuses on the traders of Tarkov. Who are they, and why are they here? This week, we take a look at Sergei Arseneyevich Samoylov, better known as Mechanic. The man himself is a recluse, hiding out somewhere near the factory. He was a chemical plant foreman before the conflict, and from the very beginning of the fighting, he specialised in weapon modifications and repairing complex equipment and technology. His bio states that he prefers to operate alone and discreetly, and enjoys undertaking complicated and challenging tasks. It would also seem that he enjoys watching others suffer too. We initially meet Mechanic just after our arrival into Tarkov. He's very abrupt and has no time for our questions. If we want to talk, he says, we must modify a shotgun for him to prove our worth. He tasks us with modifying several more weapons, perhaps to get the measure of us. This leads him to offer us more work. There's a steady stream of weapons for us to modify and some great rewards. He also tells us of his struggles inside the conflict zone. He asks us to find antennas blocking the signal of his, and to also scavenge some parts to bypass it. He asks us to install jammers too, just in case. This leads to a fascinating conversation about neural networks and the nature of sentient AI, and Mechanic lamenting the kindness of human nature, or lack thereof. His words are positive though, and he believes we are good people. He rewards us for gaining trust with others, such as Prapor. He talks of his former employers. Someday we will get rid of the invisible hand, which used to brand us with employee badges, and now has caused this mess. And I think it leads us to a great war. At least, all the current events look like preconditions to it. I worked here in the chemical plant, as an ordinary foreman. It was a good time. Everyone thought so, including me. Now it's full of scavs, swarming with brigands and outlaws. Could it be that Mechanic was once a Terror Group employee? Does he know more than he's letting on? Once we've secured the factory to his satisfaction and located all of the exits, just in case he needs to make a quick escape, he lets us in on his main hustle, Bitcoin farming. He tells us that the market was flooded with Bitcoin, so that the price went extremely low, and he was able to buy a sizable amount for dirt cheap. He frequently has trouble with his Bitcoin farm crashing or freezing, and asks us to find more components from time to time, including 3 graphics cards, which are extremely hard to come by. We oblige, although we're not quite sure if it's worth it. During our conversations, he mentions a very interesting piece of information. Yesterday, as I was installing a reflex sight onto an M4, I spotted on the monitor some local who seemed to be praying. He painted different signs on the wall and the floor, and then walked into the middle of a circle these symbols formed, and started placing weapons there. It didn't look strange though, it made even perfect sense to me. It's natural for people to give their gods the most valuable thing they have, and now, of course, it's weapons. I've heard that it's some kind of cult. Maybe you've already encountered them. We have indeed encountered them, and if only he knew what lurks in the darkness. An interesting conversation nonetheless. We learn that he smokes like a chimney and will gladly accept any cigarettes we can bring him, although he doesn't like the Apollo brand. After a long while of convincing him that we know our way around weapons and modifications, he offers us one of the harder quests we will ever accept: Shooter Born in Heaven. Requiring us to score 3 headshots across 4 maps, it can be one of the more time-consuming and difficult quests to complete. Nonetheless, he rewards us well and seems to have a newfound respect for our abilities. After all of the work we put in for him, his final task for us is to find Sanitar's office in the Shoreline Resort. He tells us that Sanitar sells stimulants that he makes to people, and that he may have once been involved with Terror Group. He's glad when we find the office, and is very surprised that his men missed it on their many visits there. After this, his jobs dry up. We can only assume that he'll have more work for us soon. It seems that Mechanic's only motivation for surviving in Tarkov is to mine bitcoins and sell tricked out weapons to his high-end clientele. He constantly asks us to find new bits of electronic equipment to replace his old and faulty parts, and is constantly asking us to modify weapons so that he can sell them on for a higher price. He sells a wide variety of tech and weapons, mostly high-end. He has a source for procuring Terror Group Labs access cards, as well as the Black Key cards, which unlock the door to the lab's experiment area, containing a medcase and some loose stims. It's becoming quite clear that Mechanic may have once worked for Terror Group, but what his involvement was with them is still unknown. Whatever his motivation, he stays away from the fighting and prefers to have others do his dirty work for him. For us, he's a valuable source of income and offers us probably the most cash value out of anyone, barring the thick cases. He is certainly a relationship worth maintaining. What are your thoughts on Mechanic? Let me know in the comments.